Lab 4 is due in 2 weeks, and it's going to have 2 parts. So this week we're going to work on the login and registration, and then next week we're going to learn about uploading files and displaying images. So for the login and registration, the first thing we want to do is create a Nav Bar, and we're going to use the LoadableContent class that we created last week. So I'm going to right-click on Includes and create a new PHP file. And I'm going to call this Navbar content. And I'm going to start with my calculator content. And I'm just going to copy all of the code so that I have a template to start with. And then paste that in. And then I'm going to want to change the JavaScript, HTML, and CSS for my Navbar. So I'm going to start by getting rid of all of the content for the JavaScript, and all of the content for the HTML, and all of the content for the CSS. So now I have a functional loadable content object for the Navbar, but it doesn't have any content yet. So let's start with the HTML. And there's a bunch of different ways of doing the HTML for Navbar, but I'm going to do something that I think is pretty simple and clean. I'm going to create an unordered list, and I'm going to call that Navbar. And actually the class should be Toolbar, because you can have multiple toolbars on a page, but only one is going to be the Navbar. And then we're going to have a list item in here, and this is going to be a tool item. And we'll make it left aligned. And you'll notice the indentation isn't working so well in this here doc, but so we'll have to just manually fix it. And then we'll have a tool item label. And this one is going to not be clickable. This is just going to be the name of the website. And then we'll have another list item. And this one will be right aligned. And this one is actually going to be my sign-in button, so it's going to be clickable. So I'll add a clickable class. And let's leave it like that for now. And I'm just going to say sign-in. Actually, that should be in a span. So let me go ahead and create a span here. Class is tool item label. And then we'll end the span, and the li, and then indent. Okay, so there's the sign-in link. And now we need a sign-up link. And I'm just going to copy this. And this will be sign up. And then this is going to be the one for registering, and this will be the one for logging in. And they're going to use float right, so this one's going to be the farthest right, and then this will be next to that. So I'm going to need a link to log out if they're already logged in, and only some of these will be shown at any particular time. So that's a tool item right as well, and it's clickable. And then we'll span class tool item label. And this one will be log out. And then one more. And this will be right as well, but it won't be clickable. And I'm going to use this one for the username display. So span class is tool item. And then this one I want to display a little differently as well. So let's create a separate class for that, tool item text. Actually, this should just be tool item label. Tool item label. And then I'm going to leave this empty and then fill it in with whatever the user's username is when they're logged in. Okay, so now I have the labels and I need to add IDs to them so that I can access them in the code. I'm not going to change this so it doesn't need an ID. The rest of them do. So this is going to be ID is login button. And then this one is register button. And then this one, log out button. And then we'll make this one just be username. Okay, so that's our HTML for now. And then let's go ahead and set it up to load this. So what I'm going to do is on my index.php, I'm going to consolidate all of this code into a separate file that gets included because I'm going to reuse this in multiple places. But for now, I'm just going to put it right in here and then I'll refactor that later. So to load the nav bar, I'm going to add another ready function. And it's going to call LoadContent. And then I need to pass it the path to the content, which is going to be in assets includes Navbar content.php. And then I need to pass it a callback, and I don't have one yet because I haven't written the JavaScript code. So let's go ahead and try this. Now this is a lowercase l again, and I'm going to go to my share site and load index.php. Okay, and we haven't gotten anything. So load content is not defined. I need to make sure that gets included. So we'll add script source equals assets includes load content.js.php. And now let's try it. Good. So here's my nav bar. It doesn't look very nice yet, but we'll fix that. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and do some CSS for our nav bar. And let's start with the toolbar. And for the toolbar, to make this look like a bar along the top, we're going to set list style type to none, so that there's no bullet in front of each item. And then use zero margin and zero padding. And hide the overflow. And then we want to set a background color that's going to contrast with the background. So I'm going to use a dark gray. Background color. I'm not sure if that's the right thing, so we'll go ahead and try that. And then I'm going to add a little box shadow so it looks offset. And we'll make it 11 pixels tall and 1 pixel. And then the color is going to be light gray. So let's see if that works. So callback is not a function, right? So I have to give that a function there. So let's make this a empty function. Okay, and then I'm not getting my style, so I'm going to inspect this item. And my toolbar, oh, that should have been .toolbar in the CSS. So that's why this is red. And this is giving me a warning here. So, oh, no commas here. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so getting there. Now I need to make these items be in line. So those are the tool item labels. So let's style that. And actually, yeah, tool item label. Let's display these as blocks. And we'll make the text color white to contrast against the gray. And let's center it. And add padding. Try 14 pixels and 16 pixels so that there's some space around it. And we don't want any text decoration. Okay, so then we want to change the style on our tool item right and tool item left. So tool item right is just float right, and tool item left is float left. Okay, so now the clickable ones, when I put the cursor over them, I want it to change to a pointer, and I also want to highlight the box it's in. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to define a clickable class that has a hover method. So dot clickable colon hover is going to set the background color and we want a gray that's lighter than dark gray, or maybe black. Let's try black and see how that looks. And set the cursor to pointer. Okay, that looks reasonable.